We'll hear from Coach for an opening statement.
Yeah, got to give Hofstra a lot of credit. That's a very good team that came ready to play. You know, I thought we did a good job starting the game out well. You know, Speedy called the timeout. They kind of regrouped. I think they went on a, 18-2 run there in the middle of the first half. We didn't do a great job. Once we built the initial lead, you know, but we did a good job closing the half. You know, somehow we ended up 2 as bad as we'd played there in the middle of the first half. So, you know, and then I thought our start to the second half was great. He calls the timeout just like the first half. And our discussion that timeout was, you know, we did this in the first half, and then they came out and went on a run. We got to continue to get stops. They got a lot of talented players, you know, particularly Mead and Davis. Can't let them get going. And, you know, we came out, I thought offensively we were pretty good there in the second half, a lot better than first half. But defensively, you know, we let Mead get going way too much. You know, I thought we did a pretty good job on Davis for the most part. And, we did a great job on the glass. Aiden has 15 and 15. It's not easy to do. Thought Taylor's energy was great. You know, look, he's got 3 blocks. I think he's worried about playing hard, the right stuff. He ends up going 3 of 5 from 3. It's one of his best shooting nights in a long time. And I think when you just get worried about losing yourself in the game and playing hard with all the effort, blue collar, tough plays, I think you're a skilled player. The other stuff takes care of itself. And then, you know, LeBaron told me he wasn't going home, and he's pushing a triple-double, ends up with 29, 8, and 7. That's pretty solid night. Him and Reitzel both end up plus 22 on the plus-minus. So a lot of good things from a lot of our guys. You know, March, you gotta win or you go home, and we were able to figure out how to win here, particularly in the second half. Now we face a really tough team in Texas Tech on Sunday.
Okay, we'll take questions of the student athletes. We'll come to you.
Larry, the Amped Up Sports in Tampa. Taylor, for all 3 of you, start with you. The hardest game to win is the first. Survive and advance. How important was it to get to a point where, okay, we got this handled?
It was really important. I feel like there were multiple times in the game that we came together. We played well as a team, and we made a bunch of great team plays. And I'm just super happy and proud of our guys for how we played today.
It's win or go home, so we had to come out with a different urgency. Had to go out there and execute our game plan.
You know, for just, you know, me, I would just say just the flow of the game, you know, you kind of felt it. They, you know, we made a little run. They called a timeout, made a little run. And, you know, everybody said it in the huddle in the second half when, you know, we went on the run. They called a timeout. We told, you know, the guys we can't let them go on a run. So we stopped them from going on a run. We went on a little run. They called another one. And, you know, from that point, we said the same thing, and the same result happened. And I think that's what, you know, led us to just pull away. We focused on just getting stops and just pushing our pace. You know, they was trying to slow the game down.
Robbie LaSella, Racketeer.org, my coach for LeBaron. You guys obviously overcame some adversity there in that game. Was there a specific moment where you guys kind of felt like momentum flipped, or was it just the halftime adjustment slowly coming together there in the second half?
I would just say, you know, being ready to make adjustments just for us, listening to the coaches got great adjustments. And I think, you know, they do a great job of, you know, getting the game plan ready, and they have multiple things we can throw out there. So we not just, you know, based off one thing. We got multiple things we can do. And, you know, once everybody's locked in to, you know, just a game like that, it kind of shows, you know, in the second half, you know, our pace kind of, you know, broke them down a little bit, and we just started getting out and running.
Chase Goodbread with the Tuscaloosa News. LeBaron, it seemed like you were off your game offensively in the first half. You had the missed open layup, which, of course, we never see from you. But then you turn it around. You get 21 points in the second half. What triggered the scoring binge for you?
Really, I think, you know, not just worrying about scoring. I missed a couple of open shots, but I don't really just like banking myself on that. I try to get guys involved. You know, I ended up with like 7 assists, and I was just, you know, mainly focused on getting the ball out of my hands when I needed to, getting it back if I needed to. So it was just like all the guys was ready to play. So Amari did great attacking the slots. Taylor hit open shots. Real got rebounds. You know, it was kind of a collective theme. And I think once we play like that, it's really hard to, you know, just contain us in a full and half court.
How and Willie, WRHU, Taylor, they're at the end with that altercation with Victor on what to. Was there anything said between you guys beforehand that led to that moment?
Nah, we're just gonna leave that on the court. You know, you're just playing hard and competing hard.
LeBaron over here, JoeGoodmanAO.com. How was your mindset different with not having Aiden available with you in the backcourt?
I would just say mindset-wise, it's got to be the same. You know, being a leader. You know, I think I did a great job getting these guys ready for this game. You know, it was a great feeling just to, you know, get to Tampa and just like, you know, focus on basketball, focus on, you know, winning the NCAA tournament game. We got a lot of young guys on the team, so we had to prepare for them, get them ready, and, you know, for our veteran guys, older guys, just be ready to step up and be ready to, you know, lead those guys in that moment. And I think, you know, all the young guys did good for their first game, and we just got to continue to, you know, build from here.
Katie Wyndham from Bama Central. For either of you three, it was kind of similar to Ole Miss where you were down double digits, you make a run at the end of the half. This time you were leading at the half, but kind of how did y'all learn from that game to come out with more energy in the second half?
When that happened, we learned from our mistakes. We came out, we gathered ourselves, and just went out there, executed the game plan in a better way, and had a lot more urgency defensively, and we cleaned up our loose ends.
Okay, fellas, thank you very much. You can head back to the locker room. Thank you. We'll take questions for Coach.
Read with the Tuscaloosa News. Coach, after the shove on Balboa late that he just commented on, he goes on a scoring binge right after that. Coincidental, or was that related? Were y'all trying to get him the ball, anything like that?
We weren't necessarily trying to get him the ball. I think it's just he happened to get it. I think he got locked in. Look, I'm super proud of Taylor. He's gone through a lot this year with all these injuries, you know, and different points, you know, you get frustrated, and man, he's just really locked in for the last month. So I think, you know, that Hofstra's a team that's been on a big winning streak. You know, they came in expecting to win, and you could tell that. So I think they got frustrated a little late. And then Taylor, I don't know what was said. We okay? It's happened to me before. Yeah. At the EYBL, you know, I'm sitting over there, not a good spot to do it in front of all the coaches. But I thought Taylor got himself really locked in and was about the right stuff. You know, 3 blocks tonight, playing really hard. I mean, you look at what he's able to bring. I mean, defensively, we were 20 points per 100 possessions better with him on the floor, and I just told him to focus on that stuff. So let's lose yourself in stuff you have full control over. Sometimes he gets a little too worried about making threes and missing them, but made some, missed some tonight. Just keep doing what you're doing. So, no, we did not try to get him the ball per se after that, but it was nice LeBaron found him on that lob, and I think he hit a 3 and a lob, and yeah, it was a good little run for him there.
Robbie LaStella, Bracketeer.org. I'm sure you're still focused on this one, but I do want to ask about Texas Tech. A team like that who has had some changes throughout the season, how do you go about preparing for them? Do you focus on the now? Do you draw back to the past at all? What's the way to go about that?
I think you go from when they lost Toppin on. When you lose one of the players that's in the running for National Player of the Year, you're going to have to play a little different once you lose them. So I don't even think we'll spend a whole lot of time on anything before Toppin went out, because they had, I mean, you know, if we were going to lose Phylon or whatever, you'd have to make an adjustment. So I think we spend most of our time looking at their games since Toppin went out, and they're still very good. They got a lot of shooting. They got very good guard play. They've still got bigs. They play a very slow, methodical style that, you know, could cause problems if we're not really locked into the defensive end with a quick turnaround. You know, we play in 2 days here, so you only got 1 day between games. We're going to have to get really locked in because they do a great job running their sets, and we gotta be good.
Leo.
Coach Leo Haggerty, Amped Up Sports here in Tampa. When you're playing a mid-major, the usual MO is you're going to see great guard play and a lot of toughness because you're playing men. These kids are experienced. Was that the case tonight too?
Yeah, I think that's, I mean, I was at Buffalo. It's been 7 years now at Alabama. And you're right in a way, but it's changed a little bit in the regards that anybody can transfer whenever they want. So some of those men that you would see at the mid-major level, all of a sudden are now transferred up when they get really good. So yes, we did, because they got some tough guys for sure. And I mean, any team Speedy coaches is going to be built on toughness, physicality. I mean, if you know him as a player, and it's how he coaches. But I mean, their leading scorer tonight was a freshman that's very talented, very skilled, but I wouldn't call him like, I mean, he's not some tough physical 23-year-old. I mean, it's a freshman at Meade. So, yeah, they're tough, they're good, they're super talented. They got great guard play, like you said, but their leading scorer wasn't some fifth-year senior that's been there for 5 years. He was a freshman that's pretty good.
I don't even know. Oh, there it is. Neil Blackman, Saturday Down South. Seemed like you guys really were able to control the glass today, and something you did in the win late in the year against Auburn, just being able to get offensive rebounds, second chances. Hadn't really been a strength all year. Like, has something changed? Is it just something that happened lately?
We've tried to focus on it throughout the year. I mean, we're not great at it. Like you said, for large parts of the year, we have shown that we're capable of it at times. I think about what Taylor did against St. John's, and we out-rebounded St. John's, whose whole team is built on toughness. You know, we've done it in some of our bigger games, but we've also got drilled on it in some of our bigger games. Arizona, Purdue just got destroyed. So we've challenged our guys. We've made it a bigger point of emphasis, and it's great to see, you know, Aiden Sherrill come up with 15, Phylon come up with 8, you know, and a lot of other guys pitched in. You know, in the first half, the only guy that had no offensive rebound was Sherrill. So we challenged everybody else. I think he had 6 in the first half, and nobody else had one. So, you know, you look in the second half, and we had guys in there keeping alive. Amari ends up with 2, Phylon ends up with 2, and Taylor ends up getting 1. So, you know, we end up with 17 boards. They had 13, which, you know, we did end up winning the glass by 12, but the second chance points were only +5 on it. So, you know, we still got some room to improve on that, but it's better than it was, like you said, in some other games.
Katie, you end up with Bama Central. Amari was scoreless in the first half, had 11 in the second half. Just kind of how did you see him get involved and contribute and step up in the second half?
I mean, yeah, we needed him to get going. You know, he's one of our better players. He ends up playing 32 minutes. So a guy that you're going to play 30-plus minutes, he's got to be out there. He's got to be a threat, and he's talented enough to be. So we called that first play of the second half to kind of get him going, got him downhill. I thought Phylon did a really good job setting a stack screen there on their big and got Amari downhill. And then, you know, Phylon was smart, thinking the game. You know, our next time we had a chance to run a set play, he wants to run another play for Amari. We just worked, so it gets downhill again. So it was, I thought it was really good. You know, and the one we called initially, he got in the paint, drew it in, threw it, London missed a 3, and Amari gets the old board putback. So it's not necessarily the play Amari scores, but it gets him aggressive, downhill, paint touch. He's in there, gets an old board. So, yeah, we need him to continue to play like he did in the second half because he's a big part of what we're doing.
Last question for Leo.
Coach, a lot of coaches talk about the middle 8, the last 4 of the first half, first 4 of the second half. How important is it, and how much do you emphasize it in your program?
We tell them we got to start and close halves well, and it was great tonight that closed to the first half. I think we went on, you know, we were down 10 there. Yeah, final 6:20 of the first half was 16-5 run, so plus 11 the last 6 and some change, and then second half we started on a 12-4 run before they had to call the timeout. So take those 2 runs together, and 26-11's pretty good there. You know, that's something we do talk about, focus on. We've had struggles starting halves out before and sometimes closing halves, so it's good to see we did a great job with that tonight.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you. Alabama locker room is open for another